So in this video today, we're going to cover the age-old discussion of should I repair or should I replace my boiler? It's not actually my boiler, it's your boiler. So we've brought along two different examples today to show you, and we're going to run through why these customers chose to replace their boiler rather than repair it. In these examples, one of the customers had boiler cover and one of the customers didn't. So it's fairly representative. So one of these customers actually had home care cover and the other one didn't. So it should give you something to relate to, especially when you're thinking about changing your own product.
Just before we head into this video, if you're in the market for a new boiler, head over to heatable.co.uk. We'll be able to get a fixed price and have it installed within 24 hours.
So in our first example, we've got an Ideal Izar, and now this boiler was installed around 14 years ago and the customer chose to replace it last week. Sound check me. So although this boiler is 14 years old, it's still actually a high efficiency condensing model, and it's not too dissimilar to the one that the customer replaced it with. So when this boiler was installed around 14 years ago, it came with a 2-year manufacturer guarantee for parts and labour. Now, back then, that was pretty standard for products. These days, that's not really competitive in the marketplace. So we've spoken to the customer who replaced this product, and we delved into the background of the boiler and to find out, why am I speaking? Well, it's just a little sentence, why am I making it so long? So we've spoken to the customer to find out what repairs and maintenance the boiler needed during its life. So the boiler first broke down in 2013 and the customer had to call an engineer. The engineer attended and they charged a call-out fee of £70, and they diagnosed that the boiler needed a replacement PCB. This is the control board that controls the boiler. The part cost was £232 and the engineer quoted an additional £80 to return and fit it once the part was in stock. The boiler was repaired and everything was working again. A year later, the boiler lost pressure. When the customer re-topped up the pressure in the boiler, they noticed that the pressure gauge was faulty. Again, they contacted the same engineer who re-attended and charged them £70 to diagnose the fault. So the faulty gauge was diagnosed, a new one was ordered, only a cost of £19. However, there was an additional £80 to pay to have it installed. So after the first breakdown, the customer had then spent £551 repairing their boiler. So more recently, the customer was starting to experience issues with the boiler again. They contacted an engineer attended, and he diagnosed that the main heat exchanger had failed, and also the PCB once again required replacement. Oh, no. The quote for the repair was around £850 for the heat exchanger, an additional £320 to replace the PCB. Including the call-out charge, the cost to repair the boiler, Including the call-out charge, the total cost to repair the boiler this time would have been £1,240. When we add all these costs together, the total repair bill for this product during its lifespan was £1,791. This is where we start to look at the total life cost of the product. If you take the cost of maintaining the product for the duration of its life and what it cost you in the first instance, this will give you the total life cost. In this instance, the customer 14 years ago paid £1,850 to have the product installed, bringing its total life cost to £3,641. Oh God. We're actually going to be donating this boiler to one of our competitors who's going to sell it with one of their exclusive 55-year guarantees. So do keep your eye out for it, it's in great condition. The customer chose to replace their old boiler with a new condensing model from Alpha. This was purchased at a cost of $1,595, supplied and fitted via Heatable. The product comes with a 10-year parts and labour guarantee from the manufacturer. For the 10 years this product is under guarantee, it's less than half the cost of the total life cost for that product. Well, chicken. So in our second example, we've got a Baxi Platinum 28, and again, this is 14 years old and it is also a condensing model. Slightly different this time, the customer who replaced their boiler, when they maintained this boiler, because the conversation's going on a bit too. So a little bit different this time. Before replacing their boiler, this customer had a fully inclusive home care product which maintained and took care of any big bills during the life of the product. On the flip side though, home policies don't come for free. The customer was paying £23 a month, which is £276 a year. They also had an excess to pay of £60 per claim. The total cost to insure the product over the 14-year period was £3,312. So let's keep the figure of £3,312 on the screen, and now we'll start to break down the cost of the repairs on this product. First repair was a new diverter cartridge, and this came in at... The first repair around 4 years into the boiler's life was a new diverter cartridge. This came in at £235. Sometime later, the boiler required a new fan, and this came in at a cost of £190. Shortly before the boiler failed, it started to lose pressure, and it then required a new expansion vessel and a PRV at a cost of £155. Total repairs came to £580, however, they were all covered by the customer's home care plan. As you can see, this person only needed £580 worth of repairs during the life of their product. However, they did spend £3,312 on home care, meaning they flushed £2,732 down the toilet. I need to get myself together. All okay, it's going to be okay. It's just a bit of toilet water, it's nothing. Nothing's just getting up. So going back to our total life cost model, the customer paid £2,150 to have this boiler installed 14 years ago, and they then spent an additional £3,312 on the cover plan, bringing their total life cost of their product to £5,462. So the customer chose to replace their boiler with a new condensing Worcester Bosch Green Star 30i from Heatable, and this cost them $1,895 supplied and fitted. It also comes with a 10-year manufacturer parts and labour warranty. As a comparison cost, this is £3,567 cheaper than installing and maintaining their previous boiler. So carrying out a one-off repair on your boiler is generally always going to be cheaper than it is to replace it. However, if you start to consider the lifetime cost of the product, this is where replacing your boiler with a new one that comes with a long manufacturer warranty starts to pay for itself. Another consideration is older boilers. Both of the boilers used in these scenarios were high efficiency condensing model. If these boilers had been older and non-condensing, there'd have been additional savings to make from the improved efficiency of the new products. So in summary, deciding whether to repair or replace your boiler depends on several factors such as age, do you or do you not have home cover, and records of previous repairs. You also need to consider the total life cost of the product when looking for a replacement boiler. Boiler warranties pay for themselves. So we hope this video has been helpful in helping you decide whether to repair or replace your existing boiler. If you've chosen to replace it, then head to heatable.co.uk where you'll be able to get a fixed price to repair... No! I just want my Nando's! Where you'll be able to get a fixed price and have it installed the next day. Start again.